Well, over the past decade, South Africans have had great difficulty surviving financially. The persistent issues weighing down the economy have made things pretty bad. We've seen a constant rise in the cost of living, a constrained budget, as well as a low consumer confidence and spending. Deborah Murugan is still here to find out more about this one. And we just spoke about it because petrol's going up next week again. Case in point.
Absolutely. In fact, let's start with that to demonstrate what the price rises were like over the last few years. Shahan, petrol price, as we said, we'll start with it. Back in 2009, do you remember paying R6 for a litre of petrol?
Wow, I don't.
Ages ago, doesn't it? Let's fast forward to 2019, January this year, and you'll see that price hovering around R14. We know it's much more now, but this percentage point in red is the one you really want to look at. That's a 66% increase in the price of fuel over the last 10 years. Some of the factors have been the following. The price of Brent crude oil rising, and then of course we have the fuel levies, much of that being announced in those various consecutive budgets that we've seen over the past few years. And then taxes, a carbon tax also attached to that. One of the big reasons why we've seen a stretch in the fuel price. Shahan, also, I mean, if you were shopping back in 2009, you'll know what you were paying for these everyday basic items. I mean, they are streaming in, and when you look at these two sides, you'll see bread, milk, eggs, for example, huge gap between what we spent back in 2009 compared to now. We take the last item, sugar, 2.5 kgs of sugar back in 2009, R16.77. You look at what we're paying now, according to Agbusiness Research, R39.63. That's just below R40. Let's move on. And I want to point this out. I think this is important, Shahan. If we take a look at what retailers are telling us about consumers over the past few years, I think this graph might look a little bit confusing, but if I can point it out to you, back in 2006, 2007, retail sales, these giant retailers that were selling to consumers, look at that percentage point there, about 11%, sizably high, and then we had that huge recession coming in 2009. Fast forward to where we are now, we'll see retail sales rate around about 1% compared to 11% back in 2007. It's telling us one thing, that the retailers are selling fewer products and merchandise to consumers, to tight, struggling consumers that really can't afford it. And then it was the Reserve Bank Governor Jill Marcus that once said, if you want to know how the economy is doing, take a look at what vehicle sales are doing. Fair enough, we had that recession in 2009, 2008, that blue line's quite low. Fast forward to 2015 and look at those units there, above 60,000. So people were buying cars in an environment that appeared to be somewhat okay economically. And then you fast forward again back to 2019 and you'll see that blue line dipping right at the bottom. In fact, if it wasn't for our exports, that line would have been inclined a bit more sharper. So there you go, vehicle sales and the retail sales data, Shahan, showing us proof in terms of the numbers that the consumer is feeling it.
Yeah, we are all feeling it, hey, because we are part of those consumers. Thanks so much for that. Appreciate it, Deborah Murugan.